Okay.
Hi, I'm Anita Tecce, and this is my mini teaching demonstration. I'll be going a little faster than usual because of time constraints. Today we're going to be talking about the Stanislavsky System. We're going to take a quick look at the man who started it, the basic concepts of the Stanislavsky System, and some of the influence it's had on theater today. Stanislavsky System was started, not surprisingly, by a man named Stanislavsky, Konstantin Stanislavsky. He was a Russian actor and director. He lived in the late 19th century and lived into the 20th century. He's well known for founding the Moscow Art Theater in Russia. And in the beginning of the 20th century, he began to see a need for a new system of acting. The style of acting that was still pretty common in those days was the classical style or the bombastic style, where the actors were bigger than life and they were grand and they used elaborate gestures and they orated to the audience. They gave a tour de force performance as opposed to an ensemble performance with the rest of the cast. And Stanislavsky said, this technique just doesn't work. He looked around at some of the actors that he admired most, and what he saw was that the best actors were the most natural, the ones who appeared most natural on stage. So in 1911, he founded the first studio in order to train students of acting in the new method that he was devising. In a nutshell, I've divided the Stanislavsky system into three main areas: preparation of the actor, motivation for the actor, and truth in acting. And we're going to take a look at those one by one. As far as preparation is concerned, Stanislavsky believed that the body and the mind had to be thoroughly trained in order to withstand the rigors of acting and of convincingly playing a role. He believed in training in stage technique so that actors could project characterization without any contrivance. He believed that you couldn't just take somebody and put them on stage and they would act naturally. Actually, they wouldn't. They would act woodenly and not very naturally. We need to be re-educated and taught how to act naturally on the stage, how to walk and talk and sit and stand naturally, ironically. Stanislavsky believed in an actor observing very, very acutely everything around him, observing people and actions and everything he sees and internalizing it so that someday he can use it in portraying a role. And he believed in a very thorough analysis of the script and the role. He did not believe you could just walk on stage and begin acting. You needed to spend weeks, sometimes months, analyzing a script, taking it apart, scene by scene, looking for the underlying meanings and underlying motivations and determining exactly who this character is and how he needs to be portrayed. Under motivation, there are several terms that you need to know. Motivation, of course, is the reason why you do things. The reason why an actor crosses the stage to the window, or the reason why he gets angry in a certain scene. Stanislavsky believed that there had to be a reason. You didn't just do something on stage for the sake of doing it. You had to have some motivation for doing everything you do. Sometimes actors joke about that and say, "What's my motivation?" no matter what you ask them. But motivation really is a serious concept. The magic if. Stanislavsky said that an actor should ask himself all the time, what if I really were in this situation? What if I had to face this decision or this situation or this character that I'm interacting with? What if it were real? What would I really do? And that would guide him in portraying it accurately. Objective or through line. This was very important in the Stanislavsky system. Objective means what you want in any given scene. People always want something. They want money, they want love, they want respect, they want somebody to understand them. And in every scene, an actor needs to determine what is his objective, what is it he wants, because that's going to determine the things he does. The through line, or the super objective, is the major objective throughout the entire show. In this script, there is something that your character wants more than anything else, and that's motivating him to behave the way he does. And it's an actor's job to figure out what that through line or super objective is. And given circumstances simply means that when you take on a role, you are given a set of circumstances. You are given a character who has a certain past, who has a certain present, who has a certain future, who has certain characteristics, certain strengths, certain weaknesses, And you have got to work within what you are given. You can't just make the character up any way you want. You have to work with the given circumstances in creating a realistic character. Let's move on to truth. Truth in acting means basically experiencing what you're portraying on stage, not just pretending. I can pretend to be very sad. I can put on a sad face, and I can use a sad voice, and I can pretend that I'm sad. I can act sad. Stanislavsky said, no, that's fake, that's not real. What you need to do if you need to portray sadness is feel sad. You need to experience sadness. And you should be so much in the scene, in what you're doing, that you should actually feel this sadness. And if you don't understand the sadness, for example, let's say the character has just lost a parent, and you have never lost a parent. You don't know what that kind of grief feels like. What you need to do is use what is called emotion memory, or has become more recently known as emotional recall. And what that means is you think back in your past to a time when you felt something very similar. A time when you felt grief, when you felt intense sadness. Maybe you lost a pet that you loved, or maybe you lost out on a role that you really wanted, and you felt very, very, very sad. And what you would do is draw on that. You would recreate in your mind all those circumstances that made you feel sad, and make yourself feel sad. And that's the true way to portray sadness on the stage, is to actually feel the sadness. Being in the moment means that you should be in the scene. You should be immersed in that scene. You should actually be your character conversing with other characters, not I am an actor portraying somebody else. You should actually feel as if you are in the moment and be part of that scene. The illusion of the first time is one of the most difficult things for an actor to capture. I always tell my acting students that if they can capture this, they've taken great strides to becoming a really good actor. The illusion of the first time means that anytime you say a line on stage, or anytime you do something on stage, it should appear to the audience that you are doing it for the very first time. It should never appear, okay, this is a speech I've given umpteen times, I've been through 700 rehearsals and 30 performances. Here I go again, I'm delivering this speech that I know by heart. No, it should never, ever, ever sound that way. It should always sound like this is the first time you are feeling this feeling. The first time you are saying these words. The first time you are hearing what the other characters are telling you. And you should react accordingly. You should be shocked, you should be horrified, you should be grief-stricken. But you need to react as if you have never heard it or said it before. And that's the illusion of the first time. I'd like to play a little video, which is from a modern-day Stanislavsky School of Acting. And this video is basically guiding students to feel cold. If they need to feel cold in a scene, they can use cold they have experienced in the past and actually feel it.
Sit comfortably in a chair with your eyes closed. Now, imagine you are outdoors in the snow. How does the snow look? Is it sparkling in the sun? Is it more of a dark, cloudy day?
Obviously, in a real class, I would play the entire video, but today, because of time constraints...
How does the air smell?
The Stanislavsky System has had a tremendous influence on modern theater. When you go to the theater, you don't see people giving tour de force performances. You see realistic acting. You see people behaving like real people on the stage. And Stanislavsky System has influenced many other famous acting teachers who are very popular with today's actors. Lee Strasberg, for example, in method acting, which I'm sure you've heard of. Stella Adler, Sanford Meisner, and many others. We'll talk more about those folks next time. I hope you understand a little bit about what Stanislavsky System is all about. If you don't understand it 100%, that's okay. It's a little confusing. Stanislavsky himself said, quote, "My system cannot be explained in an hour or in a day even. It must be systematically and practically studied for years. It does good only when it becomes the second nature of the actor, when he stops thinking of it consciously, when it begins to appear naturally as of itself." Thank you very much. I hope you learned a little bit about Stanislavsky, and we would continue this lesson next time, of course. But Thank you for your attention. Bye-bye.